just making a video about wellbutrin. Now, I've been off of Venlafaxine now for around 3 months. Tapered very carefully. I reduced them by they were the hard pills, hard round pills. So initially, I was cut them in half. I was on 325 milligrams, I believe. Now I'm down to nothing. Like I say, I'm off of Venlafaxine. The hope was that returning to my old self I'd be happier. Today, that hasn't been the case, and yesterday and the day before. I've been feeling depressed, unhappy, not manageably so either. Finding it hard to manage daily life. Now, that may mean that I need to go back on more medication. I am not going back on SSNRIs. I think it's that. The ones that affect your serotonin level. It doesn't work for me. No matter what doctor tells me, I've tried twice. I am my own expert. I know how my body works. They don't work for me. They give momentary release of the pain and everything, yes, but then they stop working. For whatever reason, my body doesn't like them. And when they stop working, the symptoms of my old ways come back, and I have to deal with withdrawal, which is probably partially what's happening to me now. So, I'm hoping that I believe it. So, I'm hoping that there was drugs out there that don't work with serotonin, and even more hoping that they don't have withdrawal symptoms, withdrawal syndrome, protracted withdrawal. Obviously. Now, that's not saying that they won't clash with me. I'm going to try something. Now, I found a drug called wellbutrin. I'll read this to you. Wellbutrin. Wellbutrin, a generic name, is a prescription medication may be used to treat major depressive disorder, seasonal affective disorder. So when the weather's great, it's not really the weather that affects me, but I can feel it. I can live with that. And people quit smoking. Right. I suppose when you quit smoking, you're unhappy and whatnot, so you do need this sort of thing. So how it works, it belongs to the drug class I can never pronounce it, norepinephrine, right? Dopamine reuptake inhibitors. Now, dopamine, I believe, is the chemical in the brain that gives you that high, like a natural high, the one that keeps you going throughout the day, keeps you smiling. When you're low on that, it means that you feel depressed. Now, I'm partially low on that. I can tell you these things for a fact, right? I know that I do feel happiness, but I've got a lot of confliction in me. I've got ADHD, so I've got that constant voice telling me to move from one thing to the next. It's kind of like living life like a frog. You can never settle on one lily pad, jumping from one thing to the next. And the old lily pad becomes almost impossible to jump back onto. You just don't want to do it, but you never finish it either. You never finish the work you were doing in that area. And it becomes depressing. I become depressed because I'm never finishing anything. And yet I'm full of so many good ideas. Basically, purpose. I haven't got purpose. I'm constantly jumping back and forward. So it says here, it keeps brain chemicals, dopamine, norepinephrine active. It does not target serotonin. See, that's what I'm talking about, which separates it from standard SSRIs, antidepressants. A lot of people are okay with SSRIs. I know one person in my circle who came off antidepressants and suffered for a while, maybe a month or two, was depressed and suicidal, but then it cleared. That's all you ask, don't you? Well, that doesn't work with me, you see. It's prolonged, it carries on. I mean, the last time when I come off Proxetine, it was 6 years. There's no way I'm risking that again. No way. So wellbutrin may be the thing. It may be the thing for you too. If you're thinking about trying a drug, I say you research this. It says depression treats low mood. This is what wellbutrin does. Treats low mood, low energy, and lack of motivation. Seasonal affective disorder, or they call it SAD, which is the perfect name for it, prevents seasonal depressive episodes. When they say prevents, it sounds so matter of fact, doesn't it? Like, it stops that. I wonder if it does. Smoking cessation. Yeah, we all know smoking. When you're smoking and you're trying to come off it, you can get depressed. Off-label uses, sometimes used for attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Now, I've done my own research on that. It's not perfect for that. If you've got ADHD, it's not the thing you should reach for. It's mainly for depression, mainly for low mood. Okay, if you've got ADHD, there is so much more out there. There apparently are drugs with no addictive nature to them, no withdrawal. And listen to this, I keep on hearing that they say that your body does not climatize to them. What's the word for it? Your body does not start rejecting them. If that's true, then where have they been all my life, So I'm going to try ADHD drugs because apparently they work very much like, in the sense that you don't get addicted to them. They work very much like beta blockers. I think you can take them or leave them. I would probably take them twice a week when I need to work and concentrate and focus, because apparently they help you zone in. You know that zoning in, when you get that, it's very hard for me to get that. I start something, writing, and I go, what I should be doing is doing this. And I start doing that, and I go, yeah, but I should really be writing. And then I'm writing, and I think, I should watch this movie, because if I don't watch this movie, everybody else will watch it. And I can't stop. I cannot stop. And it becomes unbearable. It's like, 100 voices at once. I have tried something, in the past. What I did do for about 6 months, and it failed, but it did show promise for a while. You set yourself the goal of sticking to one thing for maybe 2 hours, and you don't stop. The first day you do that, if you've got ADHD, it's a living hell. It's hard. But I promised myself I would not stop. Now, this is before I got this really bad depression. And all it was high anxiety. I couldn't stop twitching, couldn't stop looking around for something to do. And I kept on pulling myself back. Remember your promise to yourself. Don't stop. The next day, I noticed a slight bit easier. Just a slight bit. I carried on working. It was really hard. And then I think it was about a week later, after doing that, I noticed that I wanted to go back and work even after the 2 hours, and that I was flowing with the work like you would hope you would do when you're working and you've got something you concentrate on. And I wanted to do that one thing. It was starting to retrain me. So maybe ADHD has a lot to do with our upbringing, because I was like this at school when I was very young. I remember being very young, and the ADHD was like, do this, do that. I could never finish anything. And you never accomplish anything in life because you never finish anything. So, but you can have these genius ideas, but you try and do one. If it lasts for more than a day, bye-bye. You move on to something else, because something else becomes so important to you. It's like obsession. It's like obsession. So, to summarize, if you're feeling like me, if you've got protracted withdrawal, and you're thinking you may need to go back on medication because you can't cope with it, and nobody's going to blame you. Nobody's going to blame you, because I understand just because I got through protracted withdrawal, just because I got through a hard time, I'm not saying it's finished yet, does not mean you can. Okay, that doesn't make me any better than you. Maybe my circumstances made it a little bit easier. I was totally on my own. Now, a lot of people would say, oh, that's bad. But when you're going through protracted withdrawal, if you're going through it yourself, you'll know that if people are around you, you're begging for help. You're almost on your knees. And how long can people stand that? When they're not feeling what you're feeling, and they say, I know, you'll be okay, you'll be okay. That's how many times can a person say that to you while you're crying and you're in pain and you're nodding back and forward, and you're going to drive the people around you crazy. So sadly, protracted withdrawal is probably better off dealing with on your own, because you can lock yourself away. You can forget everything, and it's not nice. It is not nice locking yourself away, but you can do that, and nobody's going to come up to you and say, get out of bed, and or stop doing that, because they think they know better, and all that sort of thing. When you're going through protracted withdrawal, you need to do what you need to do to get through a day, just through a day, because a day is, it's like climbing Mount Everest. It's so hard, but you can get through it. People with families and whatnot, the families may be so supportive, and that would help, and you can't blame the families for this. A lot of families won't be able to deal with you. They will not be able to deal with you when you're basically ranting and raving like a maniac, because it's painful. It's mentally painful, So if that's you, if you're thinking about going back on a drug or reversing back onto the old drug, don't stop, okay? The old drug won't help you. Your body has climatized to it. It will just make you worse. Look it up yourself. What happens when you go back on an antidepressant because you cannot deal with the withdrawal? Type it in. It will tell you. The majority of time, it does not help. In fact, it makes you worse, and then you're returning back to the beginning of the withdrawal. It sounds like a nightmare, and it is. So the only way forward, I think, is to try a drug without withdrawal, and it doesn't work on serotonin. That's wellbutrin, apparently. There's some others, but wellbutrin I keep on hearing about. You can stop it with hardly any withdrawal. Obviously, over time, your body will adapt. But I know from another addiction I've got codeine addiction. I've been taking that for about 14 or 15 years. My body adapted to that within the first year. But I still take it, because even though your body adapts to something and it stops working, like the drugs don't work song, that happens with codeine, but they do still give you mild release, just for a moment in that day, I'm not telling anybody to go on drugs here. I'm not, because I wish I wasn't on them. But it's the devil I know. It's something that's helping me, it's getting me through. So basically, I'm going to try wellbutrin. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to report on here what's going to happen. And then I'm going to I'm going to do it at the same time. I'm going to zero in on the ADHD, get these voices under control. So I can do one thing. That's all I'm asking. Do one thing. Stick to one thing. Okay? If that happened, well, that'd be a dream come true. If I can get up, right, and think today I'm going to do this and I'm going to finish it, wow. I've never been able to do that in my life. It becomes impossible to finish something. I wouldn't say it's impossible. You can do it. Like I was saying, that thing I did for 6 months, what happened was it worked. It did work. But when I got to the place where I wanted to be, where I was in control, you're constantly fighting. You've got to keep doing it every day. If you miss it one day, you go back to it comes back in again. This is the ADHD. It comes back again, where you're constantly fighting it again, and you've got to build that up again. Not as much as you did in the beginning, but you have got to build it back up again. You've got to develop a real habit. And what happened with me was, it was about 4 to 6 months. One day I was working hard, was doing what I was supposed to be doing, and I decided to open Blender, this software package, and do something. I should have stuck to what I was supposed to be doing, but I needed to use Blender just for a moment. I got into like a hobby mode and playing with it, but I needed to do something, and I noticed I was going back into, I'll do Blender and I'll do some writing. I was doing that, and then I had a freak out. I had this massive crash, like a psychosis thing, and I had to lay down for the rest of the day. And it was that bad that it knocked me completely off that game. And I want to go back to it, but I'm scared of that again. I'm scared of that panic attack, basically. Panic attack. I'm scared of that. They're horrible. It's depression. It's panic, like flight, fight or flight. It's like everything in one. You know, and if you're tired, you can go to sleep, can't you? But if you're not tired, if you just woke up and you're in a panic attack, it's bad. My stomach now is churning. It's churning. I just want to be able to function. You know, they say they do say that if you know what you want in life, that's the biggest hurdle. Everything else is easy. Everything else is peanuts. Right? I don't know what I want because there's so many different things conflicting. You know, and you'll get smug people saying, well, just pick something, stick to it, do that, don't stop, blah, blah, blah. It's impossible with ADHD. Well, it's not impossible, like I said. It's not impossible, but it's very hard. And it does hurt trying and trying and trying and trying. What I want is to be able to have a purpose, to be financially secure, and have something to get up for every day, to work hard at, not necessarily because I'm happy with it, just something, a discipline. That's what I want. Is that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask? You know, for anybody watching, that's all you want. That's all you want in life, to be able to do that. And I know it's a big ask, but for me, it's just, I've got to find it. I've got to find my one thing that overrides everything. I mean, I'm doing trading at the moment as well. I don't know why I'm such a silly bugger. I keep getting these obsessions. If I'm trading, I'll make £1 million, blah, 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 all that crap. I know now that's not true. You don't do that. Accidentally, if you've got a bit of money, you can win on the day and you can be a millionaire, blah, blah, blah. But the likelihood is with trading, if you find your edge, which is the key, you're going to be on like the snail game, working every day and working hard at trading and making maybe, say you've got 10,000 in the bank, you'll probably only make about £5 a day. That's the thing. So that's the reality of trading. Yes, it can. £5 a day is okay. Yeah, it is. It's better than nothing. But you've got to work hard for that. You've got to maybe work. You've got to maybe do about 8 to 12 hours of trading because you've got to find the right market, the right forex, the right currency pair, because they're all at different levels of expectancy. One might not be going to be profiting today, but in that list of 1,000 or so different places, the stocks and everything, there's something there that's going to make you money. How do you find it? That's your edge, not the full edge. The other edge is, you know, they say trading is like tossing a coin. It isn't, because that's 50-50. In trading, if you win one, lose one, win one, lose one, right? You don't break even. You lose money because there's fees. There's fees. Okay. So if you're like losing one, winning one, like I was saying, 50-50 right down the middle, you're going to lose. That's why it's a scam. It is a scam, but you can exploit it. There's people out there that can exploit, gambling, because they've used the brain and how it's math. You've got to figure out how to win. So the right way to look at it is, when you're winning one, lose one, make sure your wins are 3 to 4 times bigger than your loss. So when you win one, it could be you lose 2, you win 1, you're still in a profit. It will also cover your fees. There's another but. There's a bit of math to add in here. Because there's a longer distance to travel on the chart to get to that 3 or 4 times your risk, then it increases the odds of you losing more. They've got it worked out, these people who create the charts, but there is an edge. There is an edge. And that's why, because of my ADHD, I keep going back to that. I should be writing a blog and making more videos, but the trading keeps pulling me back, and I keep doing it and then doing this and doing it, and I never finish anything. So I need to get a drug to an ADHD prescription. I need to try it, at least try it. If it's true what they say, that ADHD drugs do not come with withdrawal, or I know they do actually. It does say you have withdrawal. You feel more anxious when you're coming off them and everything. But protracted withdrawal is another game altogether. I'm staying away from that. I'm not getting back into protracted withdrawal. That's hell. I mean, hell is like a holiday compared to this place in protracted withdrawal when you just can't sit, you can't stand, you can't close your eyes, you can't open your eyes, you can't smile, you can't frown. What do? You spin around in a circle for bloody years. 6 years it was. So I don't want to go back to that. And yeah, I am risking it, I suppose, by taking ADHD drugs, but I've got to calm these voices. I've got to calm the inner turmoil. I've got to focus. I've got to become laser focused, stick to one thing. So yeah, wellbutrin. I'm going to try wellbutrin, and I'm going to try an ADHD drug. There's one called Vylance. I think it's Vylance. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Then I heard some bad things. So it's finding. If you ask your doctor doesn't know anything. Your GP, and I'm not going to sit here and call all GPs bad people. They're not. They haven't got a clue. They have not got a clue. 10 minutes of research is more than they know in what you're asking them. They're a general practitioner. They went and got their degree in everything. So when you go to them and they're sitting there with the golf clubs, kicking the golf clubs under the desk because they can't wait to get playing golf and they're rushing you out. Yeah, oh, yeah, and like this. It's because they literally are wanting you out the room because they haven't got a clue what to do with you. So what they do is they stick you on the trial and error thing. So tell me how you feel in a couple of days. If this drug kills you, ring me up. And then what we'll do, we'll try something else, even though you're dead. You know, that's what the doctors are like. You know they are. They work with trial and error. And then, you know, the really good doctors will help and research, but finding them is like rocking horse shit. It's really hard. I've never found one. Cassie, my ex-partner, my partner from before, who's passed away, she found a good doctor who, unsurprisingly, was moving. But while she was with her, she did everything for her. She did the blood tests because Cassie had been diagnosed with ME, myalgic encephalitis. And I always thought the doctors just weren't doing their job right. I always thought maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was something else. And so did she. Because the doctors diagnosed her in 10 minutes. How do you diagnose somebody like that? You know, it takes time for a diagnosis. It took me over a year to get my autism diagnosis. I knew I had autism, but you can't diagnose yourself. You need an expert. You need an expert to help you. It's the only route forward. You can pay for a private one, but I suppose you're gonna have to still go through them, you know, through the different hurdles. So yeah, to cut this short, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try wellbutrin. Now I know the doctors are going to say we can't do that. Oh yeah, they'll have a problem with it. But that I'm adamant. I want to try it. Apparently, it picks you up. Will it get rid of this knot? Will it get rid of this? I'm living in Jacob's Ladder. That's what I'm living in. That movie. If you've seen Jacob's Ladder, he's wandering about, wondering why everything looks the same as his life. The streets, the people, but something's off. There's a grey, overcast feeling to him, and people are demons, and yet they're not like in the movies nowadays. They're like, you know, they could be look like me or you, but one person on the train, he looks at her as he gets off, and she's going, staring at him, and then he noticed somebody else on the train, and he looked, and this person was a homeless person laying on the thing, and he's trying to get off like this off the train, and he looks down, and a bloody tail pokes out the bottom of this person's thing. And it's like that film is about neurodivergence and depression and what else is there now? And psychosis. That's what that film's about. Because he's living, basically what it turns out, you know, for the film, the effect of the film, he's in hell. You can be in that place when you're alive. I'm proof of that. Today, when I was at the library and everybody's having a great time, strangers, everybody, I'm sitting there listening to them all, wishing I was dead. That's not normal. Wishing I was dead, and I panicked. I always panic. So I had to get out of there. The plan was to stay there all day and work hard. It never works. I just hate it. You know, you've got somebody in the background going, all right, love. And you think, oh, shut up. And then, you know, they're not doing any harm. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just, it drives you crazy. It drives me crazy. But like I say, I'm not being personal about people. It's, you know when people are saying to each other, you know, when somebody's asking for a question and somebody's going, yeah, yeah. You know, when I'm thinking to myself, they don't care. They don't care, do they? They don't care. They don't want to help that person. They're just doing what they have to do because it's a job. And I should be thinking like that. I should be thinking, I should be thinking nice thoughts like, let's get the work done. What we're having for tea tonight? What, you know, I'm not. I'm like in this hell, you know. But so hopefully, summarize again. I'm going to try wellbutrin. It's not serotonin. Anybody who's watching this video, one person watching this video, if you're going to try, if you're watching it because of the reason I'm making it, then you may be sensitive to serotonin uptake medication, the antidepressants that are common. If you are sensitive to them, you're lining yourself up for several years of hell when you try to come off them. Just be careful. I've done my research now. I've become an expert of my own physiology, more than any GP can do. And they'll talk down to you. They'll tell you it's all in your mind. I know it's not. This is physical. So, protracted withdrawal. So, we need a drug that doesn't do what the serotonin drugs do. Wellbutrin doesn't work on serotonin. It works on nephenephrine. I don't know. That's aliens, isn't it? The chemical that makes you feel good, it works on that. What it does, it controls the drug in your brain, dopamine and all that, and it makes it slower trickle. Because I am aware actually that I use my dopamine too quick. You go, whoosh, it's gone. That's the hyper element of ADHD. So I need some way of calming that down and taking life like, what do you call that, bear out of the bare necessities, simple bare necessities. That I need to live life like that. And from the outside, people think I am because you have, you know, you create a persona, but inside, I'm crying out for help and nobody can help you. All you can do is help yourself. And the best way of doing that is having discipline, and maybe psychiatric drugs. Maybe. Don't rely on them. Even wellbutrin, it's not going to be long term for me. I'm just wanting to develop a life for myself. Where, I mean, I've got a life though. This is the thing. I'm married. I've got a son, beautiful son, 6'8". He's a giant. I've got a granddaughter. I've got my health. I can see I've got my legs. I've got my arms. I've got my bald head. I've got my voice. And it feels like I'm so ungrateful. But I can't help it. I cannot help it. Every day is like Jacob's Ladder when he's walking about in this dark world. Such a good film that for demonstrating what psychosis is like. The only way he survives is by going to heaven. I mean, you know, but maybe I keep on hearing wellbutrin, and also I need to be diagnosed with this ADHD. I know I've got it. I cannot concentrate on one thing. And apparently ADHD drugs, which you can try without the diagnosis, are not you don't get addicted to them. They're non-addictive. So that's what I want to hear. And also the withdrawal is not as bad as protracted withdrawal. It's limited. It stops after a while. So they say, I mean, I never checked antidepressants before I went on them. I went to the doctors back in 2011. 15 minutes changed my life. I went to the doctors who never spoke to me. He had that weird grin on his face that some doctors do constantly, with that eye thing where the grin's there and the eye's like, yes, yes, rolling the eye thing, you know? I'll never forget him. And I swear he never said anything to me. He must have. But I remember him just smiling with his eyes and slowly blinking. And then he just wrote a prescription when I said to him, I'm at a new job that I love. I'm highly stressed. Highly stressed. Is there anything I can take to get me through the door so that I don't make a mess of it? Anybody could tell you that doesn't deserve to be put on antidepressants, but I didn't know what they were. And he put me on paroxetine, which is outlawed, by the way. Did you know that? Because the FDA tested it for a year, but that year is not good enough. But they haven't got time machines. They've got to get the drugs out, haven't they? In that year, yes, you do feel better. It's after about 2 to 3 years, the drug stops working. And when it stops working, you look to get off, don't you? I stayed on it for 2011 till 2021, so that's 10 years. I stayed on paroxetine well past its sell-by date. When I tried to get off it, my brain was saying, you know, I'm not having that. I'm not having you put me through that to change me. And then you want to get off it? No. I did. I got off it, but it was living hell for 6 years. Living hell. And it's changed me. It's now left me with, I think, PTSD. I'm scared every day of that feeling coming back. So all I do is wait for it. I've also got ADHD, like I was saying, or they call it now, if you've got autism and ADHD, which I've been diagnosed with autism, so they call it now ADHD, autism and ADHD. They go hand in hand. But apparently there is drugs that help them mitigate that effect. So yeah, do your research. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to a doctor. Please. The doctor will put you on antidepressants and then they will talk you into it. Do you know they're giving this poison to 7-year-olds? Kids' brains are not even stopped growing. And the FDA have no idea what the effect of giving an antidepressant to a growing brain is. Do you know that? They're taking a gamble with your children. And then they use the research from you going back and forth from the doctors as your kid grows up and then commits suicide. They go back, the doctor writes it down, and then they write a paper about it. They get clapped on. Yes, we've made progress now. And all the children, the long line of dead corpses of children are the guinea pigs, the mice in the laboratory. The children are the mice. That is a fact. We're the guinea pigs. We're the mice. Did you know that? I mean, I think you all do. I think people do. It's scary. It's scaring me. That's the world we live in. We've got these miracle drugs that can do things, but if you're not fit with the right thing, you're basically a lab rat. And you drop down and die, and nobody's going to say, oh, sorry, or anything to whoever you've left behind. Have you seen the stories of people who've gone through what I've gone through? The ones that have survived it and the ones that haven't, how it destroys them. Kanye West, okay, he got put on an antidepressant. He had a car crash and he got shot from it. They put him on an antidepressant and his creativity dived. And I've lived that. Your creativity and everything dives because the drug doesn't only try to calm down your anxiety and everything. It calms down your creativity, your sex drive, everything goes down. But at first, you're okay with that. You don't realize it's almost permanent. And Kanye West, he talks about it a lot, how he had protracted withdrawal. Also, Heath Ledger, Batman. What they said in the media is that he died because of drugs. What do you jump to? You think, oh, he was on cocaine and heroin and he overdosed. Did you know that's not true? He was on several. Now, you don't put people on more than one antidepressant. He was on several. because his doctor was private, and obviously, because he's only a human being, wanted to keep his job. So Heath Ledger's going, help, 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 put him on a new antidepressant. And Heath Ledger was supposed to taper off them, get onto another one, and he was taking more than one. Look it up on YouTube. It's right there. What did Heath Ledger die of? And you might even get the video, the good video, with the doctor with the dark skin, the young doctor with the glasses. He tells you about what happened, the truth of what happened to Heath Ledger. He died because of antidepressants, because he was having to make movies while he was having protracted withdrawal. If anybody says, how did you survive it? And he didn't. Because I was on my own. I locked myself away for 5 years to get through the protracted withdrawal. You're not pestering anybody then. It's not good. You're in suicide mode every day. But if you can get through that, you can lock yourself away. And it's this hell. And that's what I don't want to go through again. And yeah, Heath Ledger's dead because of that. There was that Earl or something from Britain, a young man, fresh out of the army, goes home, wants to live his life with all the royal benefits and everything, you know, all the happiness, and he's got the family and the big mansion and that lot. And he took an antidepressant, and it caused a protracted withdrawal. And this was his last day, where he was running, jogging, went home, and he was laid on the floor, writhing. And I know this feeling, writhing, begging his family, who were standing there in shock, watching him writhing and going, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. I can't handle it. They also obviously thought he was having some sort of breakdown, a stroke or something like that. It was the medication. It's proven. And he died. He killed himself. And yet they keep saying the same thing, because Big Pharma, what's more important to Big Pharma is they don't want to lose any money. That's what's important to them. If they can fix the problem and not lose money, they'll do that. But that's hard to do, isn't it? If you admit there's a problem, you've got to take responsibility. And if Big Pharma do that, that means they're going to be paying out money to the broken families. You know, like thalidomide, when that happened. And Pharma won't do that, so that the people at the top of the chain can carry on drinking the £8,000 bottle of wine on the yacht. That's all it's about. That's all it's about. When you go into a supermarket and it's all like grinning people in the adverts saying, yes, eat this and that lot, and you think it's all because they want to help you be healthy. That is not, for 1 minute, that is not the reason them supermarkets exist. They exist to make somebody at the top richer. That's all it is. It's all about money. It's all about profit. It's all about getting a living, having a living. And if that means they're going to hurt people doing that, and the government don't see it, these companies will do that. Volkswagen, they were creating their engine was breaking the government law about the fumes. Look it up, right? Volkswagen were fully aware that they were contributing big time to global warming. So what they did, they realized they hadn't been caught. So instead of stopping and doing the right thing to save the planet, they prepared for being caught. That's what they did. They carried on doing it. They carried on poisoning the planet to the extent that we're doing, on the level of what cows do. You know, some people say, oh, but cows do it. Yeah, but cows and Volkswagen and the rest of the pollution, it was all being caused, and Volkswagen could have stopped it like that. But they were making millions. What's more important to these companies? Money or saving lives? Saving lives doesn't even come into it. They don't give a shit about it. They don't give a shit about saving people's lives. Not for 1 second. But if you ask them, oh yes, we're here to do what's right for you. We're doing the right thing we're making you happy, blah, blah. Yeah, because it makes them money when they do that. So yeah, Volkswagen knew they were doing this thing to the earth. So what they did, they carried on doing it because it's making them a lot of money. It was cutting corners on the production of engines, blah, 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 and all this sort of thing. And to cover it for when they knew they'd be caught, they built a cash cow in the background to cover the fines. And when they got caught, that was what they said. It's okay, we can pay that. We can afford that. They got caught and fined for, I think it was something like $500 million. And then they had to change the engines. They had to change them in the end when they got caught. But these are the companies, right? You know, you'll get stung for. I don't smoke cannabis, but let's say you're smoking cannabis, you get arrested, right? Okay, because you're breaking the law. These big companies that are supposed to be an example to the average man, they will lay the population flat dead if it makes them a profit. Yeah, obviously they won't do that because that's where their profit lies in. But if it's killing people or profit, killing people, it doesn't bother them at all. They don't lose a minute's sleep because they'll just pass on the responsibility. It's not my responsibility. I'll carry on adding that screw, carry on adding that catalyst, that tube. I'll carry on doing my job. And the people at the top are laughing on our expense, physical expense. You know, McDonald's, right, got caught because they were making food that was making people ill, giving people heart problems, giving people obesity, giving people clogged arteries, right? They got caught, they knew about it, and they prepared. So the government said, right, okay, fine, and make sure every customer now sees, it's clear that they can see what they're putting in their body. When you go into McDonald's, can you see that? And yet they've had to do it. Guess what they've done? They are still breaking the law, but they've managed to find a loophole. Next time you go into McDonald's and you eat your food, in that piece of paper on the tray, turn it upside down. There's every calorie that you're eating on there. That's the loophole. Oh yeah, we put it on underneath because we're protecting it's all about protecting us. Is it? It's not. It's about them making profit. You know, the CEO, I think I'm probably wrong on who he was, but the CEO of an American franchise for McDonald's was saying it was when they were getting in trouble for charcoal on the burgers, saying that charcoal can cause cancer. So to make money, he said, no, it works. It doesn't do that. It blah blah blah. It doesn't cause that. I'll prove it. I'll eat these myself. And he would eat one every day. Look it up. He would eat one every day. A burger made from McDonald's. And obviously he was doing that. He didn't think he would get cancer, and he did, and he died. What a stupid effing world we live in. You can only rely on yourself. You can only rely on yourself and people who truly love you. Because nobody else does. You know, Asda, Tesco, it's Morrison's. It's all corporate capitalization. It's all using us to make money. We are cattle. So when it comes to the GP, he's not thinking about your well-being. He's thinking about looking good in front of the people that make his career. That means numbers. He has to fill numbers. He has to get things done, blah, 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 so that he can carry on being a doctor. If he causes death all the time, he's going to lose his license, isn't he? So he doesn't want to do that. It's not about you. It's not about you being happier. You know, he'll probably feel that while you're talking to him for a moment. Oh, yeah, I wish they were a bit happier, but he doesn't really care. He doesn't know you. What you have to do is you have to do your research yourself. So I'm going to try wellbutrin. I'm going to try it. I'm not going to listen to anything they say. And I'm going to try ADHD drugs. And maybe they'll give me some peace. While I'm on them, the plan is to find direction and a discipline. Use the time that they work to find discipline, you know. Yeah, the trading works. It works. You can make £5 a day, blah, blah, blah. But the work involved is much harder than I expected just to make £5. I may improve that over time, but I need to be disciplined in something else. I need to find a one-track career path. So my plan is I'm 54, right? I checked and the age isn't a problem. I think I'm going to see I'm sweating because I'm stressed. I'm going to find an apprenticeship that almost guarantees. Well, it does. They do guarantee an interview when you've finished. This is for anybody who's thinking about this. If you're younger than me, right? Look at skills boot camp. It's a government scheme, right? They guarantee you if you do their 12-week course. I think it is. It's either 6 or 12 weeks. When you pass it, and it's just basic digital skills, you can do it. You've got AI now. Just ask the questions in AI. Don't just lie about everything. Just learn, but don't stress about it. Just do the course, and they guarantee you an interview at the end of it. Not a job, an interview. That's good. That is good. It gives you interview experience. If you're prepared, you probably will get the job if you're young enough. The point is, though, you're getting a qualification. It's all free. Skills bootcamp. Skills bootcamp, or coding skills bootcamp. But skills bootcamp seems to be the word they use. And there's no, when people say there's no jobs, maybe that's true if you're looking for jobs on your own. There's services now you can do. If you're young enough, and I am as well, I'm 54 and I'm young enough to do this, which I am. I'm signed up for them. I'm signed up for IPS, something blah 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 service. And what IPS does, it gives you get a man or woman comes out every week, and you explore what you've been looking for at work. It's kind of like when you're at the job center, but this person doesn't force you into a job. They ask you which job you like. This is what he's doing with me. And I've told him I'm looking for a certain type of coding work, blah, blah, blah. So he's told me to stick with just for 3 jobs because of the ADHD. He says, just stick with 3, don't do too many. So I'm going to do 3 jobs a week. Then what he does, he then supports me by contacting the company I've applied to give them a sense of trust for me. He says, yes, he's my client. I support him. I'm going to support him into the job and stay with him. If you're not happy, you tell me. If he's not happy, he tells me. That sort of thing. So that's IPS. Is that just the Teesside one though? There'll be a version in your area if you're in the UK, and then the other one is it's 2 words. Type in government services helping back into work. Connect. Something Connect. It's a service that it's a bit more harder than the IPS one. The IPS one is more, it's easier about your needs. They will ask you, does that job fit you? The Connect to Work, I think it's Connect to Work. The Connect to Work one is closer to the one that you remember when you got told to go to a group that was you're going to sit around it. Do you remember them? You sit around a table, and the man at the front draws a potato, and the potato is he draws a box. Sorry, I don't know what the potato. I remember drawing a potato at one of these things to do with work. You remember that, Mr. Potato Head? I remember doing that. But what they generally do is they draw a box. You're in the box. Step out of the box to find work. It's a load of bullshit. But what they do then is they do this, and it's supposed to get you motivated, and then they find you work, and you've got to take it. And it's like, generally, it's something like pushing trolleys in Tesco's. A job's a job, though. But if you're not comfortable with that sort of thing, there is services out there, IPS, where they will allow you to pick. You apply for your job. They don't apply for it. You apply for it, and then they support you like a what do you call them? The pom-pom girls. They support you. They contact the job and they say, yes, I know Matt Cunningham. I'm going to support him into work. Will you give him a chance? He's got these skills. He's a wonderful character, blah, 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 all that crap. And then you could probably get a chance. And then with me, I'm saying all the time, I've applied to about 8 now. And I'm saying all the time, look, when they turn me down, I'm sending them an email and saying, okay, can you just give me a chance to, Have you got anything you want me to do? I'll work as a volunteer in the prospect of employment. And you're asking for a job still, but you're telling them, give me a task, I'll do it for free. Obviously, they may use you. That's the world we live in. You remember YTS? It's much like that, but it's better. It's better. It is better. YTS was a scam, wasn't it? All the big companies would sign up to it. They got paid for. The government paid our wage, which was about £27 a week. This is back in the 1980s. You got for a whole week. I got £27. That was my wage. The employer didn't have to pay a penny. So the government thought that was going to motivate employers to hire us. They never hired you. They just kept you on, pushing the trolleys, sweeping the floor. It was cheap labor. And that's why the system's wrong over here. The government wants us all to be in jobs, but the jobs are ruled by employers who are not thinking about the well-being of people. They're thinking about making the best way for them to be rich. Obviously, that's what business is. But that's the type of place we live in. That's the type of world we live in. That's how the economy works. When they say to you, get yourself a proper job, there's no such thing anymore, because jobs come and go. The turnover is so high now. I think there might have been a time when it was you got that job doing the government thing, like maybe sweeping the floors or something, and that was you set then. And then the coal miner dispute come along, where everybody thought working down the pit was for life, and it wasn't. And then jobs are not secure anymore. So what do you do? I don't know. Any suggestions? I don't know. I'm done being stuck in work where I'm being harassed. I'm done with it. I don't see why I should have to put up with that. Harassed because I'm different, autistic. They don't like me, you see. You know that chav mentality in the factory floor or the supermarket floor, where they're all like, hey, up lads, and all this shit. It doesn't work with me because I'm different, and that's my fault, I know. But it doesn't work with me. I can't get on with them. So I become a pariah. And very quickly, I'm the person who they don't like to sit with them. They're like, oh, hello. I'm sitting with them at the dinner room and nice to meet you. And then they're like, oh, you know what I've got to do? I've got to move over there. And, I just don't get on with people. I can. When I find somebody, I'm a really good friend, like, well, I've had so much knockbacks now that it's hard for me to trust people, But I want to do something. If I won the lottery tomorrow, I'd be happy for a little while, but I still want a purpose. I want to have a reason to get up, go out and work. And not because a sense of work is better for you, no, because the sense of discipline is better for you. Having a reason to do all that, not let down your workmates, all that sort of thing, without feeling under pressure. Every job I had, every single job I had, it was like an opera. There was the bully, there was the narcissist, there was the overly nice person, there was the I'm not saying there's anything wrong with an overly nice person, but that was great. Yeah. Then there was the female bitch. It's true. I'm sorry. It's true. Every job's got them. The one that you do one little thing because you don't make her laugh. Because in my case, because I'm autistic, to make somebody laugh, it's like a chore. I don't just come in and say, all right, and blah, 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 and then they laugh at me. In my case, there was one woman, I'm not going to say her name on here, and she just didn't like me. But that's not enough for these people. When they don't like you, they talk about you. and they start poisoning people's minds. And the bosses started disliking me, and they started commenting on what she'd said, and it might not even be true. Honestly, there was several times when what she'd said was not the total truth. When I was up on the top of on the top of Frenchgate Centre, and I found some shoes. I'd only been in that job for 1 week, and I radioed down and said, I found a brand. It was a brand new pair of shoes in the car park. I don't know what to do with them. So I radioed down and said, I found some shoes here. She says, great, like that. And I went, oh, is there anywhere I can put them? She said, what she said, why are you asking me about shoes? I said, because there's a pair of shoes up here. And she just it went dead. No answer. That was it, honestly. So I moved the shoes to the side because I got in my head that somebody might come back for them. I didn't take them down or anything. I just moved them to the side. I should have done that. I know. But that simple little thing, and I'm not kidding about that conversation. When I came downstairs and got my coat that morning after my night shift, she was upstairs, which I later found out, complaining to the manager about me, how I woke her up. She was sleeping, right? She told the manager because he knew she slept on nights because she was in the control room. I woke her up. I disturbed her because they were like pals. And also, I would not stop radioing down. I radioed her twice in the whole night. And that I'm weird and things like that. So that got me so angry about her. And then the next thing she did, one night she saw this, there was a chimney outside through the cameras, and she thought it was a parrot. She did, not me. So she radioed to me. Honestly, she thought there was a parrot outside. And it wasn't, it was a chimney. And it did look like a parrot, but even I knew it wasn't because it didn't move. So she radioed me. Remember, I'm the one who radioed about a pair of shoes. She's radioed about a parrot. She radioed me to go and look for this parrot, and I couldn't find what she was talking about because from her view from the camera, she could see it. I couldn't. Turned out I had to be 12 foot tall to see what she could see. So I couldn't find it. So I'm saying, do I need to move there? Where is it? Where, and I didn't know my way around the building. I'd only been there for a couple of weeks. And it was a Frenchgate Centre, the shopping centre, the size of a football field, basically. So she complained, not about her with the parrot. She complained about me not finding this bird that later found out that it was a chimney. Nobody cared about that. They only cared about me not doing what I was told by, not my boss, somebody on my level, but she was behind the camera. This is the type of place I worked in. I've had enough of that. It's in every job, every single job. I can't seem to get to grips with people because if it was somebody else, somebody without autism, what they would have done was a good laugh about that, wouldn't they? They would have humoured her, and it would have all been okay, swept under the thing. For me, though, it wasn't. And I know I might even seem weird to people watching this and whatnot, but I am what I am. I would like to find a job where I can just either be left alone to work or respected like a normal person. But, people, they're always out to get me. And there was Billy Linsdale as well. Billy Linsdale. I don't mind saying his name because what a pig. He reported me, right? Listen to this. The job I was doing, we'd usher out kids all day. When you're ushering them out, they're saying pedo and all this shit, right? And, all the crap they do. And they'd stand still with their back to you like that, and you'd have to push them. So, and she goes, this girl, she goes, get off my tits. Like that, right? He's looking at my tits and all this sort of thing. Anyway, I'd only just started, and on my right was Keith. On my left was Kelly and a couple of other lads. It felt good, that. Anyway, she was screaming that, he's doing this, he's doing that. Obviously wasn't. I was with other people. Anyway, we got them out of the shopping centre. We went back in and we didn't see them again. This Billy Linsdale went and reported me for what she said. He reported, can you believe that? He reported me for that. And they took it in. They took me upstairs and asked me about it and everything. I said, am I on camera? Please say I'm on camera. And I was. And you could see I just went like this. No, not pushed her over or anything. But she stood with her back like that. She won't move. So I had to move her. She wasn't facing me or anything. And he reported me, and that got put on my report for everybody to see in the future. New bosses, everything. That I'd been, because you know what about the mud thing? That's the last thing you want on it. I got reported for that. It goes on and on and on and on and on. The same guy reported me for when I finished my shift, right? I was supposed to mop the canteen. I didn't do a good job. I rushed it. I was in a rush for whatever reason. I can't remember. He reported me for that to the boss. If I liked that guy and he did the same thing and I saw it, I would have just picked up the fucking mop and mopped a bit of dirt I left. That's what it was. A horrible place to work, but the job itself was absolutely great. I loved working with the customers. I loved it. They knew me by name. When Christmas come around, the lonely ones would come in and they would say, "Hello, Mark," and and they would, and you're the security guard, and you get to know the older people and whatnot, and they were all lonely, and it was such a sweet job. But the staff again. So this connect to work thing, because they think a job's a job, blah, 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 they'll just put you back into a job like that. And if you know you're not right for it, they don't care. Every person fits a hole for them. Whereas IPS doesn't do that. It allows you to make the decision. I'm happy about that. I find the jobs. I apply to them. I wait for a reply. If they turn me down or it looks like they're still looking at my thing, he asks me, do I like that job? I say yes. He will get in contact with them and he will do his cheerleader bit for me. Mark, it's great, blah, 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 all that sort of shit. And then hopefully the employer will say, all right, we'll give him a chance. The type of work that fits me, that I know will fit me. I'm personally looking for remote work because I can do everything I need to do on a computer. I'm good enough for that. And there's lots of work out there. There's what's that company called? Hang on. I don't want to lose the thing. There's a company called forget it. Starts with a B, and it's around the world, right? And what they do is they hire you, and you do call center work. I know it's not great, but it's all remote. It might be a product. So you get instructions of what to say, what to do, and how to do a little bit of research on possible questions, and then you become that human call center person for the company. And that's it. And I can put it with somebody coming on the line and telling me to F off and everything. They don't know me. They don't know me from Adam. They don't know me. So it's just a voice. Let people shout and everything, but just keep yourself calm. If you're doing call center work, keep yourself calm. Kind of act like AI. Apologize even. You don't want to lose your job over some random person. Just keep that in your mind, and you say, I can do that great. And you can get paid a reasonable amount. It's not great. Maybe about 24, 25, 26,000 a year. Which won't cover all the debts and things, but it's a purpose, isn't it? I suppose you could fit another little job in there as well. It's remote work. There's also Native Camp. They're a good place, but the only problem with them is the moment you have a bad day there, you lose stars on your profile page. And if you lose stars on your profile page, the people who've got more stars than you get the first work. So I sign in every day with Native Camp and I'm not getting no more work. But that's basically about it. I'm going to try wellbutrin. I'm going to try the ADHD drugs, the ones without withdrawal, and see what happens. And then I've got talking therapy coming up. Thank you for watching. I don't know who's watching here. Nobody's commented. Thank you for watching, and good luck to you. If you're here about the antidepressants, please think twice about it. Okay, honestly, they're not going to save your life or anything. They'll work very slow. They'll work for a very limited time. They'll stop working. And there is other drugs out there that do a similar effect, which I haven't tried yet, but I know they exist. Wellbutrin. That's one of them. There's others. You don't want the serotonin ones. They change the chemistry of your brain. And for a lot of people, they get through that somehow. But 20% of people don't. I'm one of them. So just take it easy. Wellbutrin. If you've got ADHD, there is ADHD medication that is even less addictive and less withdrawally. Right. Okay. Right. Thank you very much for watching. Good luck to you. How the hell do I stop this?